Yo, brother, it's time for us to start talking the real, man. We've been sugarcoating too much. We've got to start calling everything out for what it is.
Hey guys, confused about how exactly to adjust the dampening on the V13? Maybe this video will help you a little bit, as I've learned some lessons, some hard lessons actually. Now, I believe the way the wheel comes from the factory, but I have no idea actually how each individual wheel comes, is that there is no dampening being applied. So the wheel will act like a pogo stick. And believe me, if I got in this right now and bounce, you'd feel like it's really bouncy. And so let me show you how to fix that. To adjust the dampening, you will remove these rubber covers on both sides to access the mechanism. And you're going to be using this tool. You should have two of these that came with your V13. Here is a manual that talks about how to adjust the dampening. It tells you where to put the tool. Basically, this is a tool and this side goes up. This is what goes down into the wheel. You're going to insert it, and then it says turn the regulator. The damping decreases counterclockwise and increases vice versa. And it gives you no indication of how many turns does what in either direction. And that's where I'm going to help you right now. This tool attaches to that post, which is a hexagon shaped post, essentially like one of these Allen wrenches. And you can see how it just fits on here and grabs it, so you can turn it. So you're going to just be putting that in there, and you're going to be turning it clockwise or counterclockwise. Now, what they don't tell you in the manual is how much to turn it in either direction and what effect does that have. Again, I believe when it comes to the factory, it's going to be with no dampening adjustment. And what does dampening mean, by the way? I think that's essentially equivalent of rebound adjustment. So if you have no rebound adjustment, or dampening or damping, I think they call it, it's gonna, when it compresses, it's gonna release just as fast as it compresses. So it can be an interesting ride, a bit bouncy. I think most people don't prefer that mode of riding. And you can tell, basically, when you get it out of the box, step on it and bounce up and down a bit. And if it feels bouncy, then that's the setting it's at. And that is going to be in the counterclockwise mode. Now, when I originally was playing with this, I would be turning it, I would want to add rebound, and so I would turn it clockwise control. So it would be, as it compresses, when you let off on the shock, it more slowly comes up, so you don't get that bouncing. So I would turn this clockwise, and I could turn it forever clockwise. It would never stop. and I would turn it the other way for a while, and basically it wouldn't stop. And I just didn't know where I was at. So finally, today what I did is I went in here and I turned it one way clockwise, about 100 turns, nothing happens. So, okay, well, it's not going to stop there. So now I'm going to turn it the other way to remove all dampening. And eventually it stopped. Yay. And then I experimented a little bit, and I would say if you turn this 6 full revolutions, you've probably achieved maximum rebound, and there's really no point in going any more than that. Could be 4 or 3 that gets you that far, but I didn't notice any difference really after about 6 turns. So I would say that's about the range of motion that you need, and I've been riding it basically at 6 turns with maximum dampening. Now let me show you what not to do. There are 3 different ways to adjust the dampening mechanism on the shock with this tool. One is to use the knurled end with your fingers, and sometimes that works because it's loose enough to turn the mechanism, but quite often that mechanism tightens up. The method that Inmotion shows in one of their videos is to just put one of the Allen wrenches through here, and then you can turn it. The way I prefer is to use a large screwdriver at the end of here, and it just seems like you can turn it faster that way. Here is my public service announcement for adjusting the shock on the V13. When I was using this tool to experiment with the level of rebound adjustment, as I mentioned at one point, I was turning it like 50 times in the clockwise position to add rebound adjustment, and it would never stop, right? Well, as you're turning it through regardless of which way you're turning it, you're going to find that it hits like hard spots, and then you apply a little more pressure and whoop, it goes through, and you can keep turning it. And those hard spots are when you're going counterclockwise or clockwise. Well, when I was adjusting, let's see which one. I was adjusting the left rebound adjustment. I was going counterclockwise, so I was removing all rebound, and I hit one of those hard spots, and I kept turning, and then whoop, it started turning real easily. I broke the shaft from the adjustment shaft on the suspension. Fortunately, the other one is not broken, and I can add rebound, which I have, so it's not bouncy, but of course that rebound is only being applied by one of the shocks. So I'm going to have to let Jason know that I need a new part, or whoever is getting this wheel next. Fortunately, it is actually very easy to change the shock on a wheel. They're the same place that this is. Actually, if you turn this around, this will actually engage with that part. And then when you move the bottom, the cap of the bottom part, use that other large tool, and you just unscrew it and it slides out, and you can put a new one back in. So anyway, when you were adjusting the shock, be very careful when you hit resistance, and try not to turn too much. I think once you get it where you want, you're probably never going to adjust it anyway. So hopefully you won't experience what I just did. All right, guys, I hope this video was useful. And until next time, safe riding.